If you have to put someone on a pedestal, put teachers. They are society's heroes. The duties of a teacher are neither few nor small, but they elevate the mind and give energy to the character. The best teachers are those who show you where to look, but don't tell you what to see. Better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day with a great teacher. Your heart is slightly bigger than the average human heart, but that's because you're a teacher. Teachers can change lives with just the right mix of chalk and challenges. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism. One child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Students, don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It is not what is poured into a student that counts, but what is planted. Teachers have 3 loves: love of learning, love of learners, and the love of bringing the first 2 loves together. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. Education doesn't just make us smarter, it makes us whole. Teaching kids to count is fine, but teaching them what counts is best. I am indebted to my father for living, but to my teacher for living well. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. I like a teacher who gives you something to take home to think about besides homework. I have learned silence from the talkative, toleration from the intolerant, and kindness from the unkind. Yet, strange, I am ungrateful to those teachers. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. A teacher who is attempting to teach without inspiring the pupil with a desire to learn is hammering on cold iron. Good teachers know how to bring out the best in students. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Change is the end result of all true learning. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. The learning process continues until the day you die. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Develop a passion for learning. If you do, you will never cease to grow. Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself. They know enough who know how to learn. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in the home, school, or any place. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. He who opens a school door closes a prison. Education is the ability to meet life situations. Learning starts with failure. The first failure is the beginning of education. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Education consists mainly of what we have unlearned.
Good evening, everybody. Could you please confirm if I'm audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
All right, okay, thank you. Good evening once again. Thank you all for registering and attending this national level online faculty development program on outcome-based education and application of generative AI in teaching and research, organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell IQSC of Gauhati University, Assam, in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. Today, we would like to welcome the resource persons, Dr. Joby Cyriac, MA, B.Ed, PhD, Vice Principal and IQSC Coordinator, Marine College, Kotikanam Autonomous, And also Dr. Mendus Jacob, Professor and Director, MCA, Marine College, Kottakanam Autonomous, MD and CEO, IPSR Solutions Limited. And we also have Professor Padmini Buyapura, Coordinator, FTP of Gauhati University. And we would like to welcome all the FTP participants of today. Now, about this FTP, this was a one-week FTP program with live timings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now, fee for LMS access and processing of certificate is rupees 400. All participants who have made the payment of processing fee will receive the LMS access, the video recordings for all the days, and the provision to download your FTP completion certificate. The procedure for receiving the certificate, I will inform you towards the end of FTP today. If any of you are yet to make the payment, you can still make the payment of rupees 400 to the account details I will shortly put in the chat. If you were unable to attend any of the live sessions, they will be available in the LMS. Now, we have shared the LMS access details through email, the payment proof in WhatsApp till yesterday. Those who have shared the payment proof in WhatsApp today will receive it later, receive the LMS access details later in the day or by tomorrow. If you have any trouble in attending the WebEx online session, you could also join the YouTube live session. The link I will put in the chat now. So if you have any issues with the WebEx, you can join with the YouTube live link. Now, my name is Mendus Jacob. I'm working as the Global Relations Manager with IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, coming on to the technical sessions for today. The first session, the topic will be case studies of OBE implementation. This will be delivered by Dr. Joby Cyriac. Dr. Joby Cyriac is the Vice Principal and IQC Coordinator of Marine College, Kottakanam Autonomous. He is an academician with more than 20 years of experience. He's a graduate facilitator in Theme-Centered Interaction, TCI, by Ruth Cohen Institute for TCI International Berlin. He is also certified in NLP, that is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and he's a master practitioner. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Thank you, Sijan, for the introduction, and I'm really glad to be here this evening on this last and the final day of this FTP to present the outcome-based education experiences of Marian College Kottakanam, which I represent. And it is really an honor to be presenting before such an elite audience from such an esteemed university, which has a legacy of more than 100 years. And I know that there are many institutions under this university, and I know that there are many faculty members from those colleges, those colleges and institutions representing delegated, attending this program as delegates. College which I represent is a college which has a history of say 29 years, a very young college, and we had the fortune to have experimented with outcome-based education ever since we received autonomy in 2016. And if we look back at hindsight, I would say it was a continuous learning process. Every experience which we attempted, every new initiative which we tried to implement on the campus has yielded more learning. So that is the experience of continuous learning, and that is what I would like to share with each one of you this evening. So I would like to go to the presentation and then move on with the sharing. Sujan, is the presentation visible?
Yes, it's visible.
So I have titled the presentation as the marine experiments, OBE, the marine experiments. Now, we as a young college, we have initiated outcome-based education, and it was a real learning journey for us over the years. Of course, it has yielded dividends for us, but at the same time, we do know that we have miles to go in this regard. There are a lot of aspects which we are working on right now, and we know before us the road ahead is stretching far, and then we are working on it. So this learning experience, the experiments which we have tried to implement, that is what I would like to share.
Dr. Joby, just a second, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Meneses, your video is turned off. Could you please turn it off? All right, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so please continue.
So our college had a very humble beginning in the year 1995 in the high ranges of Idiki in Kerala, the southernmost state of Kerala, and over a period of 29 years, we are growing as an institution. We started with a B++ in 2003, and today in 2024, we stand with an A++ grade with 3.71. And in this year, we got our autonomous status extended for another 10 years. So we are placed at the high ranges, and in fact, it is placed in the high ranges of Idiki. And we have 7 undergraduate programs and 7 postgraduate programs being offered. Now, coming to the vision of this institution, the institution is run by the Diocese of Kajirapalli, and it was established in the year 1995, and with this vision to be a transformational leader in education, facilitating and celebrating the full flowering of life in abundance. In fact, the implementation of OBE, as we had several experts speaking about OBE, and OBE actually outcome-based education proceeds from the purpose of existence of the institution, the vision and mission of the institution. So all the outcome-based initiatives which we have introduced in our curriculum and in the teaching learning process of Meridian College emanates from the vision statement of the institution. and also the mission statement, which states the purpose of the institution, the purpose of existence of the institution in the remote location of Idiki, being relevant and responsive to the needs of the people around. The college, in the process of implementing outcome-based education, through a very extensive process of discussion, which involved almost all constituents, students, teachers, administrative staff, parents, and alumni, with the program outcomes. This was actually a long drawn out process, wherein we collected and suggestions from different stakeholders. In fact, the different constituents of the college. The student community, teachers, and then finally we brought them together and gradually curated and finally reached at 9 program outcomes of the college. So we have listed it out. We present it everywhere, on the campus. The first program outcome is domain knowledge, communicative competence, efficiency in modern technology, reflective response to ethical and social issues, sustainability values, critical thinking and problem solving, entrepreneurship and leadership, teamwork, self-directed, and lifelong learning. And the program outcomes is generic to the institution, while the program specific outcomes, every department which is offering different programs, they set together and develop their own program specific outcomes. For the postgraduate programs and the undergraduate programs, they have developed program specific outcomes. I'm not going into the philosophy and the conceptual aspects of outcome-based education. I would like to share the experience of implementing it, or our attempts, and how successful it was, and what are our learning points, and what are the challenges which we faced, and how do we look forward to the future. So, to give an example, this is one program specific for one postgraduate program which we have on hospitality and tourism management. We have MHTM program, a Masters in Hospitality and Tourism Management, and it being a post program, these are the 5 program-specific outcomes the Board of Studies of the department has put together. And likewise, every department offering different programs, both undergraduate and postgraduate programs, they have brainstormed, worked on the program-specific outcomes. Now, if you look at the evolution of outcome-based education implementation in Marion, over the years, we started the process. We are an affiliated institution. We are affiliated to Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam, and we received the autonomy status in 2016. And when we received the autonomy status, that the autonomy brings with it a lot of academic freedom. We have the freedom to develop the syllabus, and the Board of Studies can be formed, of course, as per the stipulations of the university. But then the academic freedom which was accorded to college on becoming an autonomous institution. So we saw that as an opportunity, and we wanted to capitalize on, cash in on this particular opportunity. And then we went all out. We went for a genuine and concerted effort to implement outcome-based education in letter and spirit. So that was we know that it was a tall ask, it was a challenge before us. Of course, we saw it as a great opportunity to bring in a quality shift, a quality change in the teaching, learning, and evaluation process of the institution, and the quality of the students in terms of what skills they possess, what level of knowledge they are able to demonstrate, and what kind of skill sets they have. And as outcome-based education posits, now what is the student able to do once he has completed a program. So that is what we focus on. And can we make a sea change, a shift in the quality, a positive change in the quality of the students, in the thinking process of the students? That was the question which we asked, and what are the skill sets which we can inculcate in the students, and how can we do that? So these questions were there in us, on the campus, and then we tried to bring in this. All the teachers came together. The entire faculty team from all the disciplines and all the departments came together, and started working on the OBE paradigm. Of course, we started from square one, so it required a lot of learning, a lot of research from our side, starting from the top management, from the head of the institution, to the entire staff members, the senior faculty members and junior faculty members. All of us worked on it. Now we collected the information, we gathered standard books on this, and then started reading on that. We made presentations, we had discussions and brainstorming sessions in the departments. We had interactive sessions with the experts in the field, so as to understand the paradigm shift. So it is actually a shift from the traditional educational paradigm to the OBE. So there is a shift. So from the calendar-based teaching process, and from a teacher-fronted teaching process, to a learner-centered process. That is a real paradigm shift, which includes a lot of other changes. In fact, at the cognitive level, at the intellectual level, at the with regard to the mindset, there is a lot of changes required, and it was really challenging. So the first part was understanding this, and then that required a lot of effort from our side. It was not easy, because especially teachers who were experienced, teachers with around 20 years of experience or even more. Senior teachers were there, and we are already in a pattern, and so and that is comfortable also. So breaking free of that comfort zone, it was not very easy. So the first step was understanding. So we have heard of many a time we have heard, many of us had bachelors of education background. So Bloom's taxonomy was the term was quite familiar, but then the spirit of Bloom's taxonomy and the way it can be applied in education, that was something which was a far cry from real implementation. We knew that, but then never, I would say, it was not implemented in our classrooms before that. So we started working on Bloom's taxonomy. We understood, we looked into the meaning of outcomes. What does it mean? So earlier, we used to prepare a course plans, and every course plan started with course objectives. So a shift from objectives to outcomes, that was actually the first change. And in fact, the change from objectives to outcomes was a change in perspective. So it was when I speak about an objective of my class, okay, this session is the objectives of this session, the learning objectives of this session is, okay, 1, 2, 3. When I say that, it is the perspective. I am speaking from the perspective of the teacher. While outcome is different in that it is something which the student learns and the student can demonstrate at the end of the session. And of course, coming to the initial part was understanding the philosophy of OBE and the 4 pillars of OBE. We have the downward design, backward design. We start from the vision, and then from there we move on. We start with the end in mind, and the clarity of focus on the outcomes. What are the results which we want? And again, the possibilities and options and flexibility which we offer to the students, and also the flexibility which the teacher can make use of, can experiment with in the classroom teaching learning process, and also the setting of high goals for the students, challenging goals for the students. All these specifics of OBE paradigm was something which we wanted to imbibe, and it took a lot of time for us to to understand this, come to grips with these ideas. And then of course, that took a lot of time. There was a lot of time invested in this process, and then there was a lot of interdepartmental. It did not remain within a department. In fact, we had a lot of interdepartmental collaboration in this process. We did not remain as isolated islands, but then we came together, and then in fact we prepared outcomes for courses, and then it was shared with other departments, and the faculty from other departments they looked at it, even when they are from a different discipline. So they gave critique on that. So, and then there were discussions, and that was how we curated, we fine-tuned the outcomes which we developed. And that required a lot of presentations, repeated presentations, and that's how. And through this process, in fact, this process was very important. Of course, if we ask somebody who is an expert in this area, and we give an existing syllabus and then ask the person to create the outcomes, an expert might immediately create the outcome. But then, well, we get the outcomes, but then will the spirit of creating an outcome and the real philosophy of outcome-based teaching and learning and evaluation, so allowing that to sink in the person, allowing imbibing the spirit of this approach, this paradigm shift, is something which happened. And so I would say, when looking back, that process was very important, but then the process was even more important, because that is what actually created the shift, or created the magic. But then I'm not making a tall claim, but then there was a shift in the perspective of the teachers. Of course, we know that we are continuously learning. Then that change, that subtle change came on the campus, and that was something which we felt happy about. Of course, the Bloom's taxonomy and the higher order, or higher levels of thinking, like apply, analyze, evaluate. So that is how, that is where we had the focus on. As I move on, I hope to explain how we used Bloom's taxonomy in the implementation. So the focal point was outcomes, and we are beginning with the end in mind, and that is the spirit, that is the philosophy of outcome-based education. So outcomes were formulated as per the revised Bloom's taxonomy, the taxonomical model. You are aware of it. You had sessions by Dr. Sunil, Dr. Mendus Jacob, and we had other experts also speaking on Bloom's taxonomy, the revised taxonomical model. And we formulated as I said, the process was a rather long, drawn-out process, and we benefited a lot from this process. And after the emphasis of in these outcomes was on the higher order skills. And what we attempted to do was to shift the process of assessment. Earlier, you write an article, or we give an assignment, we give a task, we give a question, and then that the question is based on the syllabus, the elements which are given, the components which are given in the syllabus, and then we ask them to describe something, or we ask them to we check their comprehension of that particular topic, how far they have understood the concepts. The conceptual understanding was tested. So but then since we set our thinking at the higher order skills, analyze, evaluate, apply, analyze, and evaluate. So at that level, the nature of assessments had to change. So we had to bring in changes in the entire assessment process. So we had to improvise certain things, and we had the university stipulations, and we have continuous assessment and also end semester assessment. And the continuous assessment process, we brought in certain elements in that. I'll explain that in the next slide. And then we had this end semester assessment also, and there were requirements specified by the university, like there should be written exams, and assignments should be there, presentations, such as, and we, of course, as an autonomous institution, we had some level of leeway in this particular area, in designing our assessment procedures, and also deciding the nature of the kind of questions which we create. And then another aspect was, we made the assessments rubric based. So be it a continuous assessment task, you give an assignment, you need to write something, and then you have to submit it. And this, the rubric of evaluation, on what basis will this be evaluated, and what is the standard expected? If it is an A grade, if I can give A grade, if I need to give A grade to this assignment, so these are the in that way, a descriptive rubric that we can go for descriptive rubrics and also holistic rubrics. But then that was left to the teachers. But the rubrics were important. So when you are giving continuous assessment, or even for the end semester assessment, we created rubrics, and based on these rubrics, we assess the COs. And both in the CA and semester end assessment, we brought in these rubrics. And another aspect which we made sure happen is that every outcome was assessed multiple times. So it is not that we give one activity and assess one outcome. Okay. It's not like that. Suppose we want a student to learn business presentation. We give a small give task, and then assess the presentation, and then with that the whole process ends. It is not like that. But then the outcome, called the student will be able to make excellent business presentations. That particular outcome will be assessed with at different levels. As part of continuous assessment, there will be some aspect which will be assessed at the semester end assessment. In written form, that will be assessed. If I am giving some oral assessment that also it will come in, and then multiple assessment was ensured with regard to each outcome. And of course, as I said earlier, the university stipulations, we have a ratio. We are following the 40-60 ratio, 40 for the continuous assessment, or what we call internal assessment, or continuous assessment, and 60 for the external, or sorry, the semester end assessment. As an autonomous institution, both the assessments are done, and so the semester end assessment is happens at the end of the semester. That is the difference. Moving on. So as I said, we went for a rubric, where we practice rubric-based assessment of COs, and the continuous assessment weightage is 40, and the semester end assessment weightage is 60. And coming to the continuous assessment, as I said earlier, there are 5 components in continuous assessment. The first 3 components are the CA1, continuous assessment 1, continuous assessment 2, and continuous assessment 3. So they are mostly written exams, but then we have given freedom or leeway to the faculty with regard to certain courses. If they want, they can go for Viva, or other assessment methods are also possible. So 3 exams: CA1, CA2, and CA3, and we improvised 2 components. One is continuous assessment for developing research skills, and faculty had, in their scheme of evaluation, they had to include a minimum of 2 components. In fact, teachers go beyond that. They go for more than 2 or 3 assessment activities under we call it cards. CA, the continuous assessment for research skills, and the second one was for deepening learning. and that is called CADL, where again the minimum of 2 components will be included. And as far as research skills are concerned, we as far as possible we give them exercises or activities which make them research, secondary literature, use the library, go into, use journals, especially at the postgraduate level. We make sure that they read at least a few journals, recent information available on a particular area, and come up with information and then process it, and then make presentations or submit assignments or complete tasks. But then, in as far as these 2 components are concerned, there is absolute flexibility and freedom for the faculty. So this is the area where the teachers can come up with very innovative activities, exercises, and authentic activities which are connected with life. We say that outcome-based education usually connects with other stakeholders, especially most importantly the people from the industry. So we need to make the learners ready for the outer world when they step out of the campus. After say 3 years on campus, they work as an undergraduate student, 3 or 4 years as an undergraduate student, or 2 years as a postgraduate student, and when they leave the campus, they should be equipped to face the realities of the world. So they should be ready to face the challenges of say the business world, the world outside. If he is a social worker, he should be equipped with skills with which he can intervene into the society, say for community development, for medical and psychiatry intervention, or to work in a non-governmental organization, or a business student should be able to start his own business, entrepreneurial. And as far as Marian College is concerned, entrepreneurship is one of the program outcomes of the students. So so activities which help them to experience this real world challenges, not in, it could be at different levels, not necessarily in full measure, but then even in a mitigated level, we need to give them opportunities. So, and that is where outcome based education it becomes a practice in its real sense. So real time activities, when they are able to actually set up an entrepreneurial initiative. I remember one batch of students. They we have tea plantations around our. We are in the high ranges in the Western Ghats, and then we have so a lot of tea plantations. And then some of these students, some batches, what they did is, they bought, even now this practice is there. Students purchased tea from the factories, and then they marketed it under a brand name and create profit and generated profit. So that kind of activities, when they actually did it, that was actually an experience connected with the real world, and helping them to experience at least in a mitigated way the challenges which are waiting for them, which are in store in the real life situation. So these 2 elements of continuous assessment that brings in possibilities for the teacher to innovate, to use ICT in a very creative way, to use experiential learning methods, to experiment on problem solving methodologies, to bring in differential assessment, different types of assessment and differential assessment also, so depending on the diversity of the students, the learning pace could be different. We speak about slow learners, advanced learners. There are possibilities of giving differential assignments with different difficulty levels. So such possibilities are there, and really challenging assignments and extra credit opportunities for students who are very promising. So that kind of possibilities are inherent, or are there in these 2 possibilities to these two elements of components of continuous assessment. Now, coming to the semester end assessment, which carries a larger weight, 60 weight, we went for the outcome-based question bank with all the questions mapped to the CEOs. And so the questions are mapped, and then based on that, we have a questionnaire, and the question papers are generated in an through the ERP. We have an automated system, and the questions are created, and all the questions are created by the faculty in charge of that particular course. But then it is not. This is a course. The course faculty develops the questions, but then it is vetted by a peer. So, so peer vetting, I'll speak about it. And so the valuation process is done not individually, but there is a buddy system which we practice, where two faculty members come together, and based on the rubrics which are developed for evaluating, they together evaluate the papers. So that is how the semester end assessment is done. And all the questions, we have, if there are 5 outcomes in a course, for a course, we make sure that all the 5 outcomes are assessed in the semester end assessment. So we'll have questions, higher order questions on all the 5 outcomes, and there will be rubrics to assess each of these outcomes. So the questions, how to assess these questions, at what level has the student achieved the outcome, and in what way, to what level is it evident in the way the answers are attempted. So based on that, based on the rubric, the scores or the grades are awarded. So it is done not individually, but in a buddy system. So there will be 2 people, 2 faculty members coming together for the evaluation process. And the scoring process also is automated, and so it is directly entered to the entered to the ERP, and so that facilitates the mapping. It's already, since the CEOs are already mapped to the POs and PSOs, the calculation part, attainment calculation part, which was I know that I believe it was detailed during the previous days. So that is done. It is done in an automated way. So that part will be done by the ERP. And as far as the outcomes are concerned, we make sure that outcomes are communicated to the students. So we make sure the teachers and the students have deep understanding, clear understanding of the outcomes of every course. We at the outset, they need to know about the program outcomes and program specific outcomes of the departments. So we organize, as far as the teachers are concerned, there are several meetings, discussions. We have moderate studies meetings, we have department council meetings, and we have a very elaborate process of mapping outcomes in the ERP of the college. So through that, and again, the outcomes are developed by the faculty, and then it is curated with the help of peers in other departments. So through this process, the teachers will be well versed, and once they develop teaching learning activities to assess the attainment of these outcomes, the teacher's understanding and clarity regarding the outcomes will be taken care of. But then when it comes to the students, they need to be familiarized with, or they need to be made aware of this particular process. They have this, most of the students, they come from the traditional teaching learning process. And when they are shifted, they experience this shift. There is a kind of a shock which they need to come into terms with, because they don't, what they expect to be taught. So but then the teachers expect them to learn. So of course, that is the situation which they would experience. And ideally, the teachers need to make sure that teaching learning activities are created in such a way that the students are encouraged. Students become intrinsically motivated to learn. So they need to become aware of the outcomes. So clarity regarding the outcomes, clarity regarding what is expected of each student from a particular course, is something which which the teachers will have to communicate. So it would be there as a document in the syllabus document. It would be there when the teacher presents the course plan. Every course starts with the course plan presentation with a very detailed presentation on outcome, where it will be a kind of at least some of the faculty, they go for kind of workshop mode process where it makes the teachers make sure that the outcomes are understood very clearly. So one strategy which I have personally used in some of my classes is giving the outcomes and then asking the students to create rubrics to evaluate these outcomes. So once the outcomes are already, outcomes are displayed on the board, and then the students are asked to create rubrics. So some model rubrics, there are a lot of rubrics available, in the internet. We give a rubric and then say, give it as a model, and then say, ask them to create rubrics for assessing this particular outcome. So a student who has achieved this outcome at an excellent level, at an outstanding level, who gets an A+ or an outstanding score. So what are the skills, and what is the level of knowledge, and what is the level of quality with which he will demonstrate that particular knowledge? He will be able to apply that knowledge. So that need to be described. So in the same way, somebody who would get a B, somebody who would get a C and a D, and somebody who needs a reworking of the task, or he has to attempt it again, what will be the description of that? So if we ask the student to do it, so that becomes that process becomes a learning experience, and that gives a lot of clarity regarding what is expected of the student. So of course, we have other ways of doing it. We have display boards and classroom boards where it is given. They have the soft copy of the course plan given to them. They have the student dashboard in the ERP where the outcomes are given. Even the question papers, all the questions are mapped, as I said earlier, mapped to outcomes, and the outcomes are given. All the 5 outcomes of a course, for example, in the semester end assessment, all the 5 outcomes are given in the question paper. So of course, that is there in the website. And also we have an induction program called Set Sail. When the students join the college, when they are here, when they're the college as freshmen, we have a 1-week program where we call it Set Sail. And in that program, outcomes and outcome-based education, and how outcomes are calculated, and what is the importance of outcome, and what are the program outcomes of the college. All these things are presented and interactively made. Students are able to made to learn it in an interactive process. Now, if you look at the attainment of the course outcomes, the process of attainment of the course outcomes, we have topography, outcome attainment topography, which we follow in the college, in our campus. We have direct assessment and indirect assessment. And direct assessment, as I have already said, we have CA for which covers 40%, which has a weightage of 40, and semester end exam 60, and indirect assessment through course and survey, which again is done through the ERP, and the weightage of direct and indirect assessment is 80 to 20, and through that we assess the attainment of the CUs. So through the measurement of the outcomes, we calculate the attainment of the CUs. So this is the detailed Meridian OBE topography with starting from the vision mission to the POs and PSOs, and the development of the curriculum, the COs and the course plan, and implementation of the course plan, and the assessment of the outcomes through continuous assessment and semester end assessment. And we have direct and indirect attainment aspects through which the CO attainment is calculated. So we have CO, the targets, attainment of the targets, and we are so at the end of the program, we have the assessment. At the end of the course, the assessment is there, and for assessing the gaps and reviewing the process. So the exam process is quite a bit automated with so that supports the OBE process. we have an indigenous, an ERP which we have given input and developed, and we have our sister concern, Amal Jyoti Engineering College, which is together we have developed it. Registration to hall ticket generation to seat allocation to duty allocation to teachers with barcoded answer sheets and mark entry, which is online, as I said earlier, with publication of the results and automated analysis of the results. So this is actually a support structure for the OBE attainment. And in fact, the management, the entire management, the entire top leadership, entire senior staff members and the faculty members, with the according of, once we were accorded the autonomous status, the examination system was set up, and we were able to test the process and refine the system over the years, and the process is continuing. The continuous learning process is going on. And as I said earlier, I spoke about the vetting, the question bank vetting by the peer. So the course faculty creates the question bank, and this is mostly used for the semester end assessment and also for the written tests, which are written exams, which are part of the continuous assessment. So questions are based on the outcomes, and it is based on the taxonomy, and the question bank vetting is done by the peers. So it is not. So we make sure that the questions are relevant, or the questions actually, we say the reliability. To what extent does this question measure this outcome, attainment of this outcome? So that is the purpose of this vetting, and feedback is given so that the quality of the question is ensured. And valuation also is done with a buddy, so that also helps in ensuring the quality of assessment, the fairness of assessment, and the transparency of assessment, and of course the marks are scored against the CUs. So moving on, the implementation process. We have course faculty, buddy, and outcome setting, mapping of the outcomes, developing of the question bank. Then what happens is the teaching learning activities in the class, within the class, and also activities will move out, will go extramural, will spread out, spill over into the campus and also to the locality, and or even we have tourism management department, and we have this being in the Western Ghats, there are tourism destinations around, and many of the activities, they are connected with hospitality enterprises. We have homestays around. We have tourism initiatives, prices like adventure tourism activities. We have trekking and outbound activities. We have small enterprises. So we create activities wherein the students can go and experience real-time issues. So solve problems. For example, one activity which was given recently in a public relations course, a course in public relations. The task which was given was to do a communication audit of a small hospitality tourism organization. So they had to go meet the proprietors of the organization, meet the staff of the organization, make a thorough study of the organization in terms of their communication, internal communication and external communication, marketing communication, sales communication, and also their online presence. Are they are they in the, to what extent are they present online? What are their digital marketing strategies? Do they follow search engine optimization strategies? To what extent, what is the nature of communication within the organization as far as the internal communication is concerned? And they have to make a study, and then a rubric was given, and then based on that they were asked to submit a report. And that was the first part of the process. And the second part was based on the audit. So if there is a gap, if there is one area, they went to some of the homestays in the vicinity, and then they found that many of them did not have an online presence. Social media presence was not there. So what they were asked to do was they had to actually create public relations tools, and then use it, help them to develop a presence, and then help them in their communication strategies, and even create a campaign. So they have created, some of them, they have created Instagram pages for them, Facebook pages, and also Instagram promotional strategies were explained, and then strategies were delineated to them, and all these things form part of the report. And finally, they give their learning experiences. So that becomes an activity. It is a teaching learning activity, and at the same time, the report becomes an evidence of the learning. So we speak about constructive alignment. The learning experience is constructed. They construct the learning process. It is not a passive process. It's a very active process. It is centered on the students. It is not just learner centered, but also learning centered. And then they have to think critically. They have to challenge their patterns of learning which was passive, and then something which was already given. They have to search, they have to find, they have to analyze, they have to discuss and question. So these are all, and they have to, and again, it is an authentic learning situation, because it is a situation where they have to apply what they have learned, the theoretical learning which they have had in the classroom, during the classroom discussions and interactions, that they have to apply there. So that demands different levels of skills. It is not just, of course, it is real world application, but it requires a lot of critical thinking. They cannot just walk in there and so they have to actually make a contact with them and then get an appointment. Then, with their permission, then they have to plan the first interaction. They have to convince them and identify their problems. They have to convince them that this exercise, it is going to be helpful. Unless that is done, they may not be convinced to share information, because a business, they may have their own trade secrets and things like that. So maybe they may not share that to that extent, but at least if some information need to be given, this kind of a contact need to be uh, achieved. So the entire process becomes very meaningful, and that is where it is called, we call it authentic, and the engagement level of the students is very high. And of course, we know that multiple skills, it is not just understanding or remembering that is required at that level. What is required is multiple skills are required. They need to collaborate, they need to communicate effectively, they need to convince, they need to negotiate, they need to take leadership. They have, the program outcomes of the college, the communicative competency they need to develop. They need to develop competencies of leadership. They need to develop competencies of teamwork, of collaboration. They have to, of course, the first program outcome of the college is domain knowledge. So unless they have domain knowledge, they cannot go there and then interview the organization. If you need to audit an organization, that's a higher level. Audit happens at an evaluate level. Audit is an evaluation. So it is higher order thinking skills that is required. It is apply, analyze, and evaluate. So evaluating an organization regarding their communication strategies and the effectiveness of that, and giving them a feedback, and to go beyond that, giving them a strategy to implement, which of course depends on the organization to what extent they will accept it. And they can, there is that we also open up a possibility like teachers will also involve. If some organization shows a lot of interest, then teachers also involve, and then we can take it up as a kind of research activity or a consultancy process in the future. So these are examples of teaching learning activities. And then, of course, the assessment happens, and marks in the ERP analysis, and end of the program, we calculate the attainment of the outcome. So if you look at the impact, whatever I have said beforehand actually covers the some areas of impact. So from the traditional teaching learning process, we have shifted. There is a shift. There's a shift in mindset. At the cognitive level, there is a shift. There is in terms of the type of interaction, there is a shift. In terms of the type of assessment, there is a shift. And I wouldn't say that this is an overnight achievement or overnight process. even now this is going on. Of course, we do have a lot of shortfalls. There are areas where even when even there are situations where um, the pressures of time uh, creeps upon us, and then we are forced to we are forced, or we drift back into lecturing. So there are moments which happen, because we have to. There are, because we are still in the old pattern. We say, we have expressions like, uh, clouds of the past creeps upon us, and the patterns follow. So we had this pattern of doing, and then even though we say uh, we want to bring in students and all student-centered activities, there are times when we drift back into the rut. But then we come back. So this shift from teaching to learning, this great paradigm shift from teaching to learning, is one of the and that we understand that it is important, and we are very eager to make that happen. So this gradual dawning of outcome-directed mindset in teaching, learning, and assessment is, I would say, this is actually coming in. It's very powerfully coming in and imbibing the spirit of philosophy of OBE, of keeping in mind the focal point as the outcome, and making it clear for the students, and helping them to experiment on flexible ways to achieve that. Last year there was one assignment, one task for developing language skills for students. So that was a group of postgraduate students, and then the task was developing their conversational skills. So they have learned English for quite some time. For till the undergraduate course program, they have learned English. So, but even at the PG level, they are not able. If many of them are not able to, were not able to communicate, converse, which with facility, with felicity. So in that situation, the outcome set was uh, able to become able, or to be able to demonstrate conversational skills in formal and informal situations. So, but then there was no point in teaching that. There is no point in the teacher coming up, being a sage on the stage and standing, as a in a teacher-fronted classroom, and then making a presentation on how to do conversations. There is no point in doing it. But instead, what was done was, the outcome. So what, you will get an A grade if you can demonstrate this skill. And what support do you need? So materials were provided, tools were provided, recommendations with regard to what they can do. In fact, more recommendations came from them, because they are quite good. They are more conversant with mobile technology, and so mobile assisted learning apps. There are a lot of applications. There are a lot of YouTube channels. There are a lot of sites and blogs which give training, and there are most. And so what was done was the students were asked to give their recommendation, not recommendation, but their learning decision. They are asked to give it in writing. They are asked to give, okay, so what am I going to do? So I want to achieve this, and I am going to do this. So a date was fixed for the assessment. So towards the end of the, or in between the semester, so there will be time slots were given, and then you will be assessed. This is this is conversation skills. So you have to they have to prepare, and end of the day, you have to prepare and submit a report also. So many students, what I did is, they subscribed to applications, and then they learned. Now many of them, they conversed with native speakers of the language, and then try to develop their conversation skills. And so the initiative and self-directed learning part, students taking responsibility for the learning, and students taking it up as a challenge, because the goal set for them, the high expectations, which is one of the pillars of outcome based education, the high expectation which was set before them. So that was before them, and so to achieve that, we say, to quote Tagore, tireless striving stretching its arms towards perfection. So that is the kind of attitude which many of them, but of course, there were students who did not take it up very seriously, few of them. So they had to be brought in, and then supported. They had to interact with them, and interim evaluation and feedback had to be given, and then they were asked to change their strategy. So that kind of things were also there. But then on the whole, differentiated learning possibilities, different strategies, different learning pace for different students. So catering to that was made possible through this particular activity. And so the end of the day, the stress is not on the calculation, calculation, the technical side of it, outcome attainment calculation, the technicality of the calculations connected with that. But it is regarding to what extent are they able to demonstrate these skills, okay, in reality when we see the students. And then regarding the classroom methods, naturally the shift comes in. Classroom becomes more participative and interactive, and ICT use becomes more creative. It is not just a PowerPoint presentation which we use, but then we use Moodle, the LMS which we use in a creative way. We have a lot of options in Moodle, collaborative activities, wiki, glossary, or lesson. These are all different activities which has collaborative elements in this, which can be given as group tasks, which can be given as individual tasks. So multiple possibilities are there in Moodle, and the creative utilization of ICT, we using Mentimeter or Padlet and Kahoot or Protagon. Now these are now there is one question which has come up. ICT is information communication technology, and Moodle is a learning management system which we use in it's a open source software which can be used as a learning management system which we use. We have a version which is customized for our use in the college. On campus we use that, faculty use that, the assignments are submitted there, and even there is a possibility of grading it. Grading also can be done through Moodle. So, and again, self-directed tasks in the classroom, student-led assignments and tasks, which I gave an example right now. And again, lecture method. Most of the time, it takes the backseat, and we know that lecture method, the retention level of the information, the to what extent they actually learn is only less than 10%, and we know that the best way of learning is when all the senses are involved, the visual, auditory, and kinesthetic senses are used. Okay, there is one question which has popped up. The Google Classroom also is a learning tool in a learning management system, of course. There are many other, Blackboard is another one. There are several paid versions, paid tools are there. Moodle is an open source, so it is, you can just log into, anyway, search, and then you find it. And there is even a mobile friendly version for that. And moving on, there is learner and learning centered, the process centered activities, that is also coming in a big way in the classrooms. And this is the gradual change which is coming in. And when it comes to assessment, there are a lot of formative assessments in the class. Formative assessment is assessment which we give during the learning process, and that need not be made part. There it can be, but then that need not be always be part of the continuous assessment, the final score. But then when a student comes with a task, we have given an assignment or a task, and then the first version, when we turn it back to them with a feedback, we are actually giving formative assessment. When a student makes a presentation before a class, a seminar presentation before the class, and the students and the teacher gives him feedback, and the student comes back and does it a second time, incorporating, taking into account the feedback, and then making the changes required. And then if the person makes another presentation, that is a formative assessment. So you can give pop-up quizzes, or we can have 1 minute responses. We can have reflective writings. What did I learn today? Or end of a session, or in between the session, tell us the most striking idea, the idea which strikes you, which has struck you during this particular session. What is the most important idea? So everyone in the class sharing one thought, one idea. So when the entire class shares it, it becomes a kind of a recap. Or asking them to write something on that, write a sentence on that, and or ask them to form a bus group, the person sitting next to them, or asking them to write a question and ask this question to another person in the class. So these are all, it's actually this is the area where it is the creativity, the limits of creativity of the faculty that would limit the possibilities. There are hundreds of formative assessment methods which we can use. We can improvise on that. We can create new ways of doing it. So, but then this formative assessment is very important. We say that feedback is the breakfast of champions. So if we want them to excel, if we set high expectations, high level of outcomes, and we want them to achieve that, we need to give them feedback. And feedback, we say feedback should be immediate and relevant. So moving on. So we have adaptive processes and authentic assessment activities, as I said earlier. We have a lot of possibilities, scientific experiments or creating newsletters or creative writing activities, or in the field of finance, personal finance planning activity, or for tourism, we give itinerary preparation or travel costing or executing an event or organizing an exhibition, or even a challenging activity like uh, 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 an undergraduate student has to make a presentation before the postgraduate students, or the first year student has to make a presentation before the third year students. So these are all challenging tasks and assignments or assessment possibilities which we have. Now, one thing which we are happy about is that our placements uh, are getting better and better over the years, and we get good feedback from the industry also regarding the performance of our students. Of course, we need to study on this, the impact of our the processes. Of course, there are a lot to be done, and we are continuously learning, of course. And as I said, there are a lot of challenges. We have structural challenges. We function within the stipulations of the rules and regulations which we need to follow. So academic flexibility also, we have restrictions. We have to follow patterns. Backward design is not very easy, because we had this. We have a set of calendar or set of topics given. That kind of a syllabus pattern is familiar for us. So these are all changes which requires time. And the teachers, when the students come and join, they, in the initial days, their performance dip, because they gradually adapt to it and take learning to their hands, and the responsibility, critical thinking, and problem solving activities. They understand, and then they gradually take up the challenge. So from passivity to active involvement, the paradigm shift at the cognitive and behavioral level. It's a challenge for both teachers and the students. Now, when we had we experimented on this, and then we put together our experiences, different disciplines, different teachers. We put together our experiences. Of course, they are not perfected things, but then our experiences, we put them together in a book, and then fortunately for us, it was released by His Excellency the Vice President of India. And there is another book which was also released by the Honorable Government of Kerala, that is on transformed learning. That is again the then principal and also one of the senior professors wrote that book. So we are fortunate to offer some consultancy and collaborations. We got some training from Hong Kong Baptist University for OBE. Our faculty got some training from them. From there, we had a tie-up. So we gave some Moodle consultancy, but then the same, we got training on OBE. So some FTPs on OBE was organized. We have a lot of resource persons on OBE. Dr. Mendus Jacob, who is is about to speak, who engaged sessions yesterday. He's the director of the computer applications program of our college, and Dr. Sunil Job also is part of our faculty. So we have several resource persons in this field. So we were able to handhold several peer institutions in this, and under the Parama scheme, we got this opportunity to mentor 5 institutions. That is, then there also we could help them. So when we look forward at Marian, the road ahead, we are looking at uh, improving on this. We have way to go, miles to go before we reach it. We ensure the quality at a higher level. So we have SOTL. I hope you are familiar with that. We would like to work on research on the processes that happen in the class. so that becomes a learning for the teacher, and that becomes an opportunity to improve on the teaching learning process, and also assure learning. Assurance of learning is something which we want to attain. So that is not happening. We need to do that. We need more research in the area. And with the changes in NEP, with the new system, OBE implementation is becoming even more challenging. And so with majors and minors coming in, we need to rework on our OBE topography and activity outcomes. There are a lot of other areas. When students go outside the campus, for such activities, that also need to be their learning in that also need to be quantified and included in the attainment calculation. So we are looking at ways of doing it. So these are the thoughts which we have in the line of the future of OBE implementation in our on our campus. So Marian College, we are we are a young institution. We are looking forward to learning further. We are in this process of learning, and we deem it as a wonderful opportunity to to have this platform to share our experience, and of course, from your interaction and questions and suggestions, we look forward to learn. And if there are any questions, I would be happy to respond to that. And I know that Dr. Mendus Jacob also, he is also one of our faculty members, so he will also chip in with answers and discussions. So with that, I would like to close. I would like to thank all of you for your patient listening and responses.
If any of you have any questions for Dr. Joby Cyriac, you can put that in the chat and he will answer them. All right, so I don't think there are any questions. We will proceed to the next session. The next topic for today will be OBE for Accreditation and AI assisted assessments, best practices, and also the feedback will be taken. This will be taken by Dr. Mendus Jacob. Dr. Mendus Jacob is an academician and an entrepreneur with 35+ years of experience and is the former director of School of Applicable Mathematics, MG University. He is also the CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited, an IT company supporting higher education institutions in the implementation of outcome-based education and innovative teaching, learning, and assessment strategies. Over to you, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Good evening, and this is the last day and last section of the 7-day FDP. So we have gone through the length and breadth of OB. There were some sections on OB implementation, case studies, best practices, and also some interesting sections on generative AI. So today we will discuss how the OB implementation process will help the accreditation process. Maybe we will discuss some points, and again we will discuss on some tools which will help the OB implementation, especially an AI platform where we can have AI assisted assessments. Then we have the feedback section, and in between, if you have any clarifications or any suggestions, we will discuss. Okay, so I will share the screen. Just 1 minute. So we'll be discussing on the OB for better accreditation grades. I'll skip the initial slides. We already discussed all these things. Now, the OB implementation process. So many of the faculty members after the sections, they used to ask where we have to start and what is the process. Just I will be going through some of the processes, and again, we will discuss about the benefits for accreditation. So first of all, define learning outcomes. That is very important. If you are a new institution going for OBE, so you have to identify the desired knowledge, skills, and competencies that students should acquire. So in consultation with the stakeholders like alumni, then the local authorities, industries, so we can identify the graduate attributes. These outcomes should align with the program's goals and be relevant to the industry or field of study. That is very important. Then design curriculum and assessments. We have to develop a curriculum that aligns with the defined learning outcomes and innovative teaching learning, continuous assessment, and evaluation strategies. Create assessments that measure the attainment of these outcomes, such as projects, exams, or portfolios. Then the complete process. So first of all, you have to start with the initial training, the basic concept like the Bloom's taxonomy, the OB architecture. So throughout this 7-day FTP, we started with the Bloom's taxonomy, and we have covered the basic concepts initially. And preparation of OB manual, that is very important. I already mentioned that we can mention all our policies in the OB manual. So there is a template available in the learning management system. And you can go through that template and you can prepare your own OB manual based on it. And then formulation of outcomes, curriculum development and outcome mapping, identifying innovative teaching, learning, and assessment methods, preparation of outcome-oriented course plans and assessment plans, OB-focused question paper generation using ICT tools or AI platforms. That is also very important because all the faculty members will be involved in the designing of or the framing of questions that will definitely add value to their teaching capability. See, during the COVID time, IIT Goa has conducted an exam, and it was in the newspaper. So they asked every student to frame questions and answer those questions framed by them only. And the students, they have framed questions for their courses, and they have answered for it. Finally, the marks are awarded based on the quality of the questions framed, not based on the answers. So it's very important that as a faculty, when we are implementing OB, every faculty should be thorough with the Bloom's taxonomy concepts. So once every faculty is involved in framing questions and preparing a question bank, that is very important. Attainment calculation, again, using ICT tools, you can do it. It's very difficult if you do it in a manual process. Generating and understanding reports on OB. So that is again very important because we have to continuously improve the system, analyzing feedback and improvising the process. Then benefits of OB, already we have discussed all these things. This is only a summing up. Clear expectations. OB provides clarity on what students should achieve, reducing ambiguity. Students and instructors have a clear understanding of the desired outcomes and can work towards them. Because when we implement OB, we'll be transferring all these information to the students also. And it helps institutions ensure desired levels of knowledge and skills, or we call it assurance of learning. So we are assuring every student who are joining the institution that we will bring them to a certain level. So that is also a part of OB implementation. And it helps institutions identify areas for improvement in teaching methods, curriculum, and learning outcomes. And again, student-centered learning, OB promotes active learning, engagement, and critical thinking. Students take responsibility for their learning and are actively involved in the learning process. The OB is actually the Q factor in academics. So implementation of innovative teaching, learning, and evaluation methods. Again, it improves quality of teaching, it improves quality of learning, improves placements, and we have experienced it in Marian College and many other colleges. Proper implementation of processes improves accreditation ratings, helps to meet the challenges of new education policy. Now, coming to the NAC accreditation process, I'm just following the old manual because the new manual, the final draft is not out. So just this is only a guidance. Like if you can start with the criteria 1. like the criteria 1, curriculum development and implementation. You can start with the OB manual there. Effective curriculum planning, delivery, and evaluation through a well-defined process. Everything is there in the OB manual. So from criteria 1 to criterion 7, this will be an underlying thread. OB can consider as an underlying thread. Then interdisciplinary, interdepartmental courses. What is the need of conducting these interdisciplinary courses? And that we can direct it to the outcomes. In order to meet the outcomes or attain the outcomes, we need different types of courses like event certificate courses, add-on courses, or value-added courses. So you can have the need analysis from the OB analytics. So once if you design the outcomes to meet the outcomes, to attain the outcomes, you need certificate courses or add-on courses or value-added courses in addition to the regular courses. Again, students enroll in certificate add-on or value-added courses. That is actually an indirect question. Again, students undertaking project work, field visits, clinical industry internships, research projects, industry visits, community posting. All these you can relate to OB because these are all activities which promotes learning. Cross-cutting issues relevant to professional ethics, enter human values, environment, and sustainability. You can bring it to the outcomes, program outcomes, and for meeting these, areas, again, you can have add-on courses, or you can add these areas along with some modules or some units in the syllabus. In criteria 2, it's very important that if you can incorporate OB, you can score a higher rank. See, assessment of the learning levels of the students and organize special programs for advanced learners and slow learners. And how you are identifying advanced learners and slow learners, already we have mentioned it. If you use a proper OB tool, and if you are properly implementing OB, you will get all these reports from that OB tool. Again, student-centric methods to enhance learning experiences such as experiential learning, integrated or interdisciplinary learning, participatory learning, problem-solving methodologies, self-directed learning, project-based learning, and more. And all these are student-centric methods. Again, it is there in the outcome-based education, where we are also focusing on student-centric learning activities. Then students' performance and learning outcome, that is the attainment calculation. In criteria 3, when we are conducting workshops or seminars, or when we go for a collaboration or a MOU with the industry or research institutions, you can have your outcomes in mind. So what all activities you conduct in the institution, it should be all outcome oriented. So in every criteria, you can connect it with outcomes. So I should say that all the faculty members should be outcome. You should have an outcome mindset or outcome oriented. So even if you conduct art consultancy or extension work, everything you can have outcomes. Okay, so you have to nurture a culture of that outcome orientation there. And criteria 4, again, we have classrooms and seminar halls with ICT or ICT-enabled facilities, smart class, LMS. And LMS is very effective in implementing OB. Some of the features of the model, I think you might have experienced it. We have the LMS where we have incorporated some of the features like workshop or a lesson activity, and there are forums for collaborative learning. So all these features are there. In addition to this, we have wiki, or we can have database creation. Many other features are also there in Moodle, which is an open source software, which you can use in your institution if you're not using it. Okay, you can customize it according to your requirement. And nowadays, you can use some AI platforms or AI tools that will again add value to accreditation ratings. And in criteria 5, we have the capability enhancement and development schemes, such as soft skill development, language and communication skill development, then life skills, yoga, physical fitness, health and hygiene. You can connect it with the IKS also in the Indian knowledge system. Then ICT and computing skills, analytical skill development, 21st century skills like creative and critical thinking, problem solving. These are actually mentioned in the new education policy also as 21st century skills. Human value development and more. And many of these skills you can develop, and all these can have outcomes. So you can have it as a add-on course or a certificate course or a value-added course, or you can incorporate it along with the course or in projects or many other activities. Okay. Then in criteria, it's implementation of e-governance in areas of operations such as academic planning and development, student admission and support, examination. Then teachers undergoing faculty development programs, including online programs. So when we implement outcome-based education, a lot of training should be there, because it is a continuous process, continuous improvement process, quality improvement. So you need to have a lot of training for the faculty members as well as for the students also, because students also should be aware of the practices, so that gradually they will adapt to the new system. Then OBE as a best practice, you can consider OBE as a best practice. Most of the institutions we support nowadays for OBE implementation, they mention OBE as a best practice in their SSR. So in that way, they are getting good scores. Even most of our institutions we have implemented, we have supported them implementing OBE. Most of them have A+ or A++ grade, mainly because they have considered OBE as a best practices and they have implemented it in full spirit. So if we have the clearly defined learning outcomes, OBE emphasizes clear and measurable learning outcomes for students, helps institutions ensure desired levels of knowledge and skills, or we call it assurance of learning. Then focus on student learning. These are all best practices. So we focus on student learning rather than just teaching. We have already gone through all these areas. Institutions can design curriculum and assessments aligned with the desired outcomes. And continuous improvement. OBE encourages innovative teaching, learning, continuous assessment, and evaluation. Helps institutions identify areas for improvement in teaching methods, curriculum, and learning outcomes. Flexibility and adaptability is there. OBE allows institutions to be more flexible and adaptable. Curriculum and teaching methods can be customized to meet individual or group needs. Better preparation for the workforce. OBE helps institutions prepare students for the workforce, and gradually, the placement graph will improve. You can identify specific performance criteria for each learning outcome. Use descriptive feedback to provide students with specific information about their performance. So in future, we can do all these things. We can have descriptive feedback based on the analytics reports. So we can encourage students to reflect on their learning and use self-assessment to identify areas for improvement. This is the way we can, when we conduct surveys, actually it's a self-assessment. So they will also think about the outcomes, and it's actually a reflection. Use their portfolios to document and showcase their learning and growth. We can use standardized tests or assessments to measure quantitative metrics, set benchmark scores to measure student achievement against specific standards or goals. We can use data analytics to identify trends or patterns in student performance over time. So you have already mentioned about the outliers report. Then use comparative analysis to evaluate the effectiveness of different teaching methods or curriculum interventions. That also is possible. Use data visualization to present data in a clear and understandable way. So these are the areas where we can look into when we go for accreditation purpose. So this is actually only an indication. So according to the institution's activities, you can customize it. You can focus on some particular criteria. Suppose, for example, in some particular criteria, you are not performing well. So you can bring OBE more into that, and you can perform well. So now the problem is we have to change ourselves, as a faculty member. It's not easy to change ourselves. So this is a quote by Elon Musk. It's easier to land a man on Mars than to change the school system. Okay. So now we will go to some of the ICT tools which will help you implement OBE again, and definitely I will explain it with an AI platform, and most of you will get those who have registered, they will get a complimentary access for the AI platform. Okay. Already I have shared my phone number. So in future, if you want any support, you can contact me. Now we'll show you with the support of again some ICT tools, how you can implement OBE in a better way. This is again an ICT tool which was developed mainly by academicians. This is actually an academic product, not an automation. It is an automation tool, but mostly academic in nature. And this type of softwares we are using in our college, Mariam College, Kutikano, when we became autonomous. The very first year onwards, we are using a question bank software for generating question papers. So I will just show you how easy if you can go with some ICT tools like this. This is a question bank where you can generate a question paper in 5 seconds. Just 1 minute. This is actually the dashboard of a controller of examination. So in universities and autonomous colleges, you need to have question papers. So usually the practice is we'll have a question paper setters. So we will give it to question paper setters, and we are spending a lot of money every year. That is a recurring expense. Not only that, there is a logistics issue, because you will be getting some question papers and the scrutiny process. It is a tedious task for the controller's office. So with the tools like this, it is cost effective, and also you can implement some best practices. I'll show you how we can generate a question paper if the question bank is already there. This is a question bank which contains 161 questions in the question bank. Suppose I'm generating question paper out of it. There is a history policy. History policy means if you're using the question bank this year for generating the question paper of your course, and next year again you're using the same question bank, then you can set the repetition of the questions in the question paper. Suppose if you don't want to repeat any of the questions of this year, you can set it like that. So that is again a customizable option. Then there is a blueprint like. So for every course, there will be a question paper template. The question may be different, the pattern may be different. So based on the pattern, you can set the blueprint. Like this is an example where it contains 25 questions, and each question can be, for example, it can be mapped like this from section A. Question number 1 is under section A. If it is a 1 mark question or something like that, then under which unit it should come, and what should be the taxonomy level, importance level, everything you can set like this. So once if you have the blueprint, the question bank is already there, and if you have the blueprint, you can generate the question paper in 5 seconds. Even at the same day of the exam, you can generate the question paper. So one question paper is already generated now. I'm going to generate one more. So I can generate 1, 2, or 3 or 4 question papers. And the controller's office, without seeing the questions, they can check the structure of the question paper. You can see the structure here. See, for example, this blue line represents the blueprint, and the yellow color represents the generated question paper. So here there is a mismatch because this question bank is only a demo question bank which contains only less number of questions. So if you have sufficient number of questions in the question bank, this will be perfectly matching. So you can see the structure of the question paper, and the controller can choose one out of the. Now I have generated 2, so the controller can choose one out of the 2. Suppose I'm choosing the second one. Just input the question paper code, then the question paper is there. So this is an example of a question paper where you have the knowledge levels are mapped. The course outcomes are also displayed. If it is required, you can do it like this. So your question paper is there. So it's transparent also for the students. They can understand which taxonomy level it is and to which outcome it is mapped. This is only a demo question paper. You cannot, this mapping may not be proper here. So this is the way we can generate a question paper for autonomous colleges and universities. Is very easy. And if you have the change of curriculum, definitely you can migrate this question bank. And if only some changes in one unit or some topics, you can change that questions. And you can use the old question bank for conducting your supplementary exams. So you can keep it like that. So you can migrate it and you can modify it. That is also possible. And you can conduct on-demand exams. For example, your students after the course, they may be going outside, for example. And if some of them have supplementary papers, they can come at any time and they can have the exams. So you can charge a premium fee for that, but it will be economical for the student also, because they may be coming from a different country. So in that way, at any time, you can conduct an exam again, and it is cost effective. The cost of this will be almost equal or less than the total cost one institution is spending in a year. So it's only a one-time cost we have developed with the help of academicians, and we are helping many institutions to implement this, including government universities. They are doing it. I will just show you one more thing. Before that, the many features are there. There are 75 plus reports available, so that proper monitoring and control of the entire process. See, for example, the faculty can check the health of the question bank, or the HOD or the controller. The process of developing the question bank, they can check how many questions are there from each category, each taxonomy, of how many questions are there. You can see less questions in the evaluate level. So you can add more questions into that category to the question bank. Okay, and according to the blueprint only, the question paper will be generated from the question bank. And this is a process. In 1 or 2 months, we can develop, we can frame the questions, and we can populate the question bank with the questions, and we can develop the full question bank in 1 or 2 months. All the faculty will be trained and they will be involved in the process. Then in between, they can check the health of the question bank. Like if there are some units missing, some topics missing, all these are visible with the, I told you that there are 75 plus reports available. And you can use it for internal exams, then model exams. You can generate question papers. So this is the way we can do it. And there are proper monitoring and the process. And after that, there will be a vetting process, so that we can provide it to the experts for vetting. And after the vetting process, it can be done online. And finally, the portal will be closed, and only the controller's office will have access to the portal, so that there is confidentiality, and a lot of security measures are implemented, like all the questions will be encrypted. So many security features are there. So that is about this one. I will also show you how the questions can be entered in the question bank. So we can use an Excel sheet like this. Okay, I think it's not visible. I will stop sharing and again add. Okay. I will show you Excel sheet through which we can add questions. So every faculty will have a login, and they can download the Excel sheet from their login, so that they can add questions. The outcomes they can upload, and once it is uploaded, it will be displayed on the top. So you can add questions like from unit 1, if you want to add a question from sub unit 1, a particular topic, if you want to add question. Suppose I'm what is EST? So if this is a question, you can copy paste the question, or you can generate questions with the AI platforms, and you can copy from there and paste it here. That's the only way you can map it. Difficulty level, you can map it. Importance level, The nature of the questions, if required, that also you can put aspire. If the question is aspire, if aspiring in 6 months, you can put it there. Otherwise, never aspire. Answer key if required, put it there. Placeholder means as a best practice, you can share the question bank to the students. So if you're sharing the question bank to the students, if you want to hide a particular question, for example, if you're having a create level question, you cannot share it, because once if it is shared, it is no more a create level question. So you can put some hint there. There will be a create level question, or you can hint like there will be a question on current affairs, or even if you put a letter there, it will not be displayed to the students. And here you can map that particular question with the course outcome. Suppose it is mapped with the course outcome with a weightage 2. Already we have gone through these sections, how we can map a question with the course outcome. So the course outcomes are mapped. See, the advantage is the question is mapped with the Bloom taxonomy levels and also with the CO. So once, if you want to find out the attainment, if you're using an ERP or an OBE tool, you will get this data from here. Okay. So in the same way, we can add questions. For example, today, suppose we are adding questions. Today, suppose we are adding 5 questions, and you can upload it to the question bank software. Next day, you are adding another 10 questions. So in the continuously, you can add and you can complete the question bank preparation. Okay. So this is a process, and there are many other reports like vetting reports are there. I'm not going in detail, but this will help the institutions in automating the process, and it will definitely help to reduce the cost and reduce the workload of the faculty members when we go for OB implementation. So this in mind, we have developed it in 2016 when our college became autonomous, and this is our 3rd version. And in future, we are incorporating some AI. We are incorporating Generative AI so that it will be more easy for you. So this is about a question bank software. And now I will explain about the AI platform, because there are a lot of questions based on a AI platform that also I will explain. And there are some questions when we change of curriculum, or bank will not be useful for creating new questions. Yeah, I already answered that. Select question may be used for CA or medicine system, but I don't think this way we can prepare final exam paper, as we need one set internal QP and one external QP and a moderator who will moderate it. Otherwise, it cannot be considered for final QP. Actually, this is used by many government universities and autonomous institutions. Professor, you can contact me. I will explain it later. So it is possible, because the vetting process is done by the expert on the question bank. So it's already done. And even if it is required, you can generate the question paper and the vetting process can be done. While we are creating rubrics for evaluation, how we need to account for either or type questions, it is exceeding the maximum. No, either or type questions, so you can fix it through the blueprint. So for the last 7-8 years, this is being used by many institutions. So all the cases are taken care of, use cases. Or AI tool that generate question banks in accordance with the topics and subtopics as inputs, rather than all the question paper. Yeah, I will definitely demonstrate the AI platform. But the problem is, generative AI is not that much developed. We can expect only 70% accuracy. Educational actors, how many government college and university using OB based educational actors, and that we have to count, because many of them are claiming that they are having OB curriculum, but in practice I may not think many of them are implemented. Okay, that we will discuss after this presentation. I will now show you how you can generate a question paper with another AI platform, which definitely you will get it as a complimentary access. I will share that one. So this is an AI platform. We call it questionpaper.ai. We can generate question papers. We can generate course outcomes. We can generate assessment activities. Assessment activities mean which is mapped to COs. Okay, so first of all, I will show you how we can generate the question papers with this platform. Generate question paper. Okay, there are some ready-made templates available in the platform. Otherwise, you can create your own template. That also is possible. There are some videos available in the LMS. You can go through that videos and definitely you can go through those videos and you can understand how to generate your own template. So there are some ready-made templates available. You can see there are few of them. And this is template 1. Template 1, the preview is here. You can see part 1. There are multiple choice questions. 5 multiple choice questions are there. In part 2, short essay questions. And part 3, A or B questions, long essay questions. So this is what the template 1. Similarly, we have template 2, a single section dedicated exclusively for multiple choice questions. Likewise, we have many templates available. Suppose I am choosing template 1 for generation of a question paper now. Go to next. Here you can give the name of the exam. For example, I'm putting model exam. Template 1 already I have chosen. College, institution type, college. Institution name, I'm putting my college, name of my college. Program, for example, MCA. Course code, I will put a course code and my subject. Okay, that's enough. Then here we can select the Bloom's taxonomy levels. There are understanding, applying already there. Suppose I'm adding analyzing also. Difficulty level of also I can choose. Medium is already there. I'm choosing easy. Then here I have to upload the syllabus. So for example, suppose I'm going to upload the syllabus. I can upload the PDF format, or I can copy paste the Word format from somewhere else and I can paste it here. So this is a PDF format I have uploaded. Then the system will be creating a question paper. Or you can even put a topic name here, or even the name of a prescribed test. That's also enough. Now you can see in less than 1 minute, the question paper is generated. So with options, and you have the answer key also. These are all multiple choice questions. Then in part 2, we have the short answer questions with answer key. Then we have, the third one is not generated. So we can again go there and maybe because of the connectivity issue. Again, you can give the syllabus, add the syllabus there. You will get questions. So there are many options like if you are not satisfied with any questions, you can delete that question and ask for more questions. So here, in part 3, you can now select the questions. You can select the questions. Okay, so only this much number of questions is enough. And we are getting other options also. So we can select out of the options and you just insert. So part 3 is there. Now we can see the questions with the knowledge levels on the right side. Again, answer key is there. And if you want a detailed answer for this one, you can regenerate that answer key. You can regenerate the answer key so that you will get a detailed answer. As a faculty, if you require a detailed answer there. Okay, so you'll get a detailed answer for that. And suppose if you want to rephrase the question, you just regenerate that question so that the question will be rephrased. Now it is rephrased. Okay. And now suppose you are not satisfied with this question, you can delete it. Just delete it. I'm deleting the second one also. So question number 6 and 7 I have deleted. So instead of that, you can add questions here. No, either you can manually copy paste the question from somewhere else, and the editors are available here. So you can manually edit the questions if required. Because as I mentioned earlier, this is generative AI. You can expect only 70% accuracy, or if there are some, may not be mistakes, some errors or something like that, you can do the editing. Even if the knowledge level is not K3, if it is K2, you can edit it there. And suppose if you want more questions here, just add questions here again. You can change the topic, or that also is possible. Suppose I'm uploading the same syllabus for the time being, or if I can change the topic for those 2 questions, that also is possible. So now I have deleted 2 questions. Instead of 2 questions, I will get around 10 questions as suggestions. So I can pick 2 questions from the list of 10 questions. That is advantage. So in that way, you can do the process. You can edit the questions. See, around 10 questions I got, and suppose I'm selecting these 2 questions. Only 2 questions I have deleted, so I can only select 2. And these are inserted the place of the deleted questions, question number 6 and question number 7. Okay. And if you want to map it with course outcomes, that also is possible. Question number 1. Suppose I'm mapping with the CO1 with the weightage 2. Question number 2 with the CO2 with the weightage 1, and update it so that it will be displayed in the question paper itself. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to display it in the question paper, it is possible. And you can take the preview. If you want only the question paper without answer for students, you can download it. Only the questions will be there. No answers are there. No answer key. So you can download it as a PDF format or an Excel format. And you can, if you're using the question bank for generating the final substantive examination, you can copy paste these questions from here and type it. You can copy it from here and paste it there. And preview of the question with the answers here for your reference. As a faculty, if you want it for the future purpose, you can download it with answers. So this is about generating a question paper. So it will take maximum 5 to 10 minutes to generate a question paper. So when we are designing the syllabus, a new syllabus, you need model question papers. For conducting your internal exams, you can use it. Then I will display the other features also. After that, I will answer the questions. There are some questions in the chat box, I know. Then how to generate outcomes. See, for example, that is also easy. Generate outcomes, for example. Here, you can give the course name, code of the course if required, program name, scale. You can use it for future mapping purpose. Suppose I'm using the 4-point scale. How many outcomes, how many CEOs you require? Here it is, by default, it is 5. If you want 6 or 4, you can edit it. Suppose I want 4 CEOs. And there are 2 ways of designing CEOs. Already, I think you might have discussed it during the sessions on introduction to OBE. Based on overall syllabus, that means you can have it vertical, or you can have horizontal wise CEO. That means more unit wise or module wise. Suppose I'm choosing unit wise or module wise CEO. That means horizontal model. Here again, if you have the syllabus, you can upload the syllabus. Just upload the syllabus, the PDF format, or I can copy paste if it is in Word format. Generate your CEO. So the system will generate, the platform will generate the CEOs, and you will get 3 options for each CEO. 3 options for each CEO. Okay. So out of 3 options, you can select one. If you have, see, draft 1, that is one option. Draft 2, another option. And draft 3, third option. Suppose for CEO 1, I'm choosing from this, or suppose I'm choosing CEO 1 from draft 2. Okay. And CO2 from draft 1, and CO3 again from draft 1. CO4 and CO5, suppose I'm choosing from draft 3. So out of 3 options, I can choose one. I can go through the CEOs and I can choose. So you can see in 10 minutes, our CEOs are generated. So these are our CEOs. Okay. Then if you update it, that will be added to the course outcomes. So this is the CEOs I have generated. Now, one more feature is there, the assessment activities. Usually, when we implement outcome-based education, you need to have innovative assessment activities. Okay, it should be different. That also you can do it. See, only thing is you need to input the CEOs. So I have generated the CEOs for this particular course. Okay, now all these 5 CEOs are there. What is the difficulty level I want? Suppose it is medium, we can put medium, otherwise challenging. Suppose I want it medium difficulty level. And I can generate the assessment activity only for one CEO or 2 CEOs or all the CEOs. Now, suppose there are 4 CEOs now, only suppose I want to generate assessment for 4 CEOs, it is possible. Or if you want, I can go for 5 CEOs on the go. Okay, the platform will develop innovative assessment activities. Here also, the tagline of this question paper.ai is teacher applies and AI creates. Definitely, AI will create it for you, but you should be an expert in identifying the best one. Algorithm design and analysis cues. Okay, that is mapped with the course of outcome 1. This is the subject of under graph theory. Practical as implementing spanning trees, again course outcome number 1. So there are 3 options for course outcome number 1. You can choose all the 3 or 1 or 2 based on your requirement. Then for the second CO, case study, simulation, optimization challenge. Then for CO3, another assessment activity. All these are learning activities. Okay. And suppose if you want a detailed report of this assessment activity, just regenerate this one. This case study analysis, how you have to conduct it. What is the process? And what are the questions which can be asked after completing the assessment? What is the objective? Resources needed, timeline, you can fit the timeline. Execution steps, what are the execution steps? Example questions for assessment, if you conduct this assessment. So this will help the faculty members. So you can reduce your workload. At the same time, you can implement OB in a better way with these innovative assessments. So this is about question paper.ai. There are a lot of videos available in the LMS and also in the YouTube. So you can go for each and every feature. There is a video. So you can go through those videos and definitely you can know more about it. So there are some questions regarding this. I will just quickly answer this. Question bank may be useful only in humanities, but not in some mathematics. Actually, Professor, this question bank is used by, I already mentioned in MG University in Kerala, they are using it for the last 5 years for all the subjects. And we have trained around 10,000 faculty members. And for all the subjects, mathematics, actually my subject is mathematics. I have prepared question bank in mathematics for my college. So because when we prepare questions for mathematics and related topics, you can input questions directly into the interface, where you can add image, you can have mathematical symbols, and in all the Indian languages that is being used now, in Hindi, in Malayalam, in Kannada, in Telugu, in all the languages. Application AI in education can dehumanize the learning experience of students. When technology is there, there are merits and demerits. But if you think about the merits, it's not be a problem. Question paper.ai, actually, there is a nominal price for it. But for the time being, all those who have registered, paid for all the paid participants, you will get it. You will get a complimentary access. But it's very cheap. It costs less than the price of a biryani, a chicken biryani. Because a lot of inputs are there by experts. So definitely you have to appreciate the effort of the experts, a lot of faculty members, experienced people. With their support only we have developed it. Will turn out to be out of context or not making sense or incorrect is the AI engine says they've already existing question papers from the servers in the web, or it can generate a totally new kind of question. Professor Grigori, yeah, actually, I already mentioned, we can go through the questions because teachers, you are the experts, and if you find that any question is not acceptable, you can delete it and you will get more suggestions. Okay. Suppose in a question there are 3 parts, A, B, C, and marks allotted for. Then how your system will set the questions according to weightages. The question bank, it is possible. All the combination, permutations and combinations already we have implemented in many places. It is possible. With regard to question paper.ai, as I mentioned, it is an AI platform. There are some limitations. But gradually we can solve all these issues. And the next feature coming out will be automatic evaluation of the assessment. So that if the student submit the assessment, you can have the automatic evaluation of the assessment. So that again, your workload will be reduced and it will be automatically mapped with your OBE tool. That is possible. Special characters, image and graphs also in the question paper generator. Yeah, we can using the editor, you can do it. Question bank can be used for setting multiple choice questions, and it will really definitely we can have multiple choice questions in the question bank as well as in question paper.ai both. Is it wrong if you set module wise or unit wise use? We got this as a negative comment in NBA. It's set module wise or unit wise use. No, it is not wrong because see, if you do it module wise, the advantage there are some advantages, like when we go for a mapping and attainment calculation, it will be advantage for the faculty members. But in every case and for every subject, you cannot do it. That may be the reason you got a negative comment, maybe for some particular course. And because in our college, we have designed COs module wise, 90% of the case. And many other institutions also. Yes, already I have mentioned that we can include special characters to make a question bank for photography as a subject, a project-based subject. Professor, you may contact me directly later. I have to understand what the problem is. Can a student access this platform somewhere and generate question paper.ai? No, whenever you generate question papers out of question paper.ai, each time you will get a different question. Maybe 10% repetition, it will be there. No, it's only a random case. So we have set the things like that. Really done. Researchers are the readers of 21st century. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Hassan Sharif. What is the possibility of AI-generated question paper getting leaked out from AI platforms? No, as I mentioned earlier, each time you generate a question paper, it will be different. But it is good now. If the students are, again, they are generating question papers and they are learning it. Actually, our objective is to the students should also learn. But you can see that it has generated a lot of esteemed. Answering questions assessment through AI. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for that comment. Yeah. Definitely, we will look into that also. Okay. If there are any further questions, I think after winding up this session, I can stay here because I have to collect the feedback also, and probably, yeah. Then we will just go to the feedback. I will share a Padlet link here for the feedback because you are using Padlet, and definitely we can use Padlet for our teaching learning activities that as a best practice. So we can experience that. I'm sharing the link of the Padlet in the chat box. Our team will share it in the YouTube also. So just go through that, go to that Padlet and share your suggestions or experiences. So this is the Padlet. You just log into the, you just click that link. You will be here, the Padlet. And here there is a plus sign. You can click that plus sign. Then there will be a screen like this. And this is an activity in your learning management system also. There you have to generate questions using questionpaper.ai. And you have to input questions there. So here you can just subject as feedback. You can put feedback subject like this. And you can write something here, your suggestions for improvement or your feedback about the FTP. And after that, you can just click publish so that it will be displayed. Okay. So you can put your heading as feedback. Then you can write your feedback or suggestions here and just publish it. So this is the way you can have your feedback. And it is already posted in the YouTube Live. Those who are joined through YouTube, you can go to the link and you can give your feedback. I hope you understood how we can do it. So, once more, I will repeat. You go to that link, and there is a plus sign that right bottom. You just click that bot, and you can put the subject as feedback, and you can type your suggestions or feedback here. Then you can publish it. So maximum 1 or 2 minutes you will get because we are running out of time. You can give your suggestions also. Thank you for your good feedback. That is actually an encouragement for us. So in next month, we are having 2 faculty development programs, one on e-learning. So how to go for a hybrid teaching learning activities with e-learning tools like Moodle and many other education tools, and also on Generative AI. Okay. So you will you can go through the LMS. There are a lot of contents available there in the LMS. And about this questionpaper.ai, you will get a mail, I think by today evening, and you will get the the link. You just go to the link and you can create your own password. And also the LMS, the videos are available. how to use it. Everything, all the videos are available there. So regarding the features and everything, you can do it. Okay. Thank you for your feedback. You can, you can definitely share your feedback on the Padlet. The Padlet is open. Maybe today or tomorrow, you can, even after some time, you can give the feedback on the Padlet. Okay. And regarding the LMS, already I have mentioned the LMS. This is all the contents are available. The task and assignments, everything is there. And there are some Padlets available. This is the task actually. Here also, you can use questionpaper.ai. You can use questionpaper.ai, and you can generate questions. And you can generate 1 or 2 questions, and you can paste it here. So this is a task again. Course outcomes you can generate using the questionpaper.ai because you have the login now. Only one for one course you generate a course outcome for your understanding. And assessment activities, again, you can use questionpaper.ai and generate assessment activities. And also you can go through the assessment activities submitted by other faculty members. That will definitely help you. Maybe some of them may be in your subject. Okay. And regarding questionpaper.ai, these are the videos available. All the videos are here. So you can go through the videos and can understand how you can use it. Okay. So that is about the LMS activity. So I'm winding up for the time being, and Madam is waiting for the delivering the vote of thanks. And after that, if you have any queries, I will be here only. If there are any queries regarding the task or assignment or any other activity related to the FTP, you can definitely post your questions in the chat box after this vote of thanks section.
All right, before we move on to the vote of thanks, just to inform you, your LMS will be accessible till the 5th May 24. The certificate will be available in the LMS to download from 30th April, that is on Tuesday. Okay, you will have to complete all the activities, tasks, and feedback form in order for you to be able to download the certificate. Please make sure you complete all the requirements to download the certificate before the LMS access will expire on the 5th May 2024. Now we will move on to the vote of thanks. The vote of thanks will be delivered by Professor Padmini Buyambura of Gauhati University, who is the coordinator for this FTP program. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. It's ending too soon, I think. These 7 days really flew. And as we can see from the participants' responses, it has been a very successful week. So let me begin by offering a vote of thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Pratap Jyoti Handik, who has been very encouraging and has supported us in organizing this event. I am extremely grateful to IPSR and all the faculty involved in offering this training, especially Dr. Mendus Jacob, who has been with Gauhati University and has been encouraging us to adopt OBE practices through the very professional and extremely systematic way which he has been telling all the participants of this FTP. And I'm glad to share that we have already begun the process. We are very, very encouraged that for this FDP, we had a total registration of 2,594 people interested, out of whom 1,090 participants enrolled in the LMS. We have had over 600 people joining in through the YouTube link. So this has been an extremely successful training session. It has been a session which has demonstrated participatory learning, interactive learning, learner-centered learning, because at least today, as you saw, Professor Jacob took us through the process of generating question papers, which is so exciting. And if you go through the LMS and you will be doing the task, that's what will give you hands-on training. So I'm very grateful to IPSR, for the organizers, for taking us through the theoretical constructs of OBE, and up to the implementation of OBE. We've been discussing and learning about the relevance of OBE for industry, academia interface. We have even learned about the Indian knowledge systems, which actually have been promoting and talking about outcome-based education, maybe not in the same language, but these practices have been in the Indian knowledge system, in the Indian system of education for a very, very long time. And it is wonderful to see that our Indian colleagues have taken the initiative of designing very professional and technology-enabled OBE implementation programs. We have seen the role of ChatGPT. We have looked at research. We have looked at Vigyana, which was another very interesting, new, innovative platform that we looked at. It's been very helpful that the discussion has also included NAC accreditation process, because that's something that all of us in higher education are involved with. So this FDP, the way it has been structured and designed by IPRS, has been has not only generated our interest in OBE, it has also shown us a way of implementing it, which is perhaps the best learning point about this entire exercise. I would like to mention all the resource persons who offered their valuable insights and experience and expertise with us. Dr. Mendus Jacob, Dr. Sunil Job, Dr. Thomas Varghese, Dr. Suresh Nambutri, Dr. Joby Cyriac. And behind the scenes, we've had the organizers, Mr. Sijin Jacob George, we have Dr. Jayman Kuriakosi, we have the entire team of IPSR who have been working tirelessly the whole week to bring to us this wonderful, wonderful OBE. I am very grateful to the director of IQAC Gauhati University, Dr. Bhavan Tati, the deputy directors, Dr. Professor Rubajyoti Sahoria, Professor Sharma, and they have been extremely encouraging for our own faculty colleagues, and as well as all the participants who have been encouraged to join this and learn OBE, because this is the way we are looking at higher education in India. I have to thank all the participants from the bottom of my heart for joining in, for participating so actively, for raising the right kind of questions, for showing such a lot of interest. And I think this is also an opportunity for all of us to collaborate together to take this movement forward. I'm calling it a movement. I'm grateful to the institutions from which all our participant friends have come, and the technology experts. I'm also grateful to our internet connections, because without these, I don't think we would have been able to complete this. I'm sorry for taking so much time to thank you, but this, the list of people we have to thank is endless. But I will stop here now, and I'm going to request all our esteemed participant colleagues to keep in touch, to help us take this forward. I must admit that even though I have been the coordinator, I have had very, very little to do. As you would have seen during the entire week, Dr. Jacob and his team has designed and implemented it. They've shown us a way forward. And with this, I hope that we will all keep working towards implementation of OBE in our own institutions. We will take all the help of AI generated assessment protocols and everything else that technology is offering us. And together, I hope we will be able to take Indian education to a really, really advanced level. Thank you all. Thank you for your patient hearing. And with this, I think we can formally close the FTP on OBE. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Padmini. Thank you for the word of thanks. Thank you all the participants. Thank you for joining in for this session as well. We hope to see you again for another FTP soon. Thank you, everybody, and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you and good night.